Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Alvina Lwana Herman and also my friend here, Saidah Kaisatul Ulia. We are proud to be one of the presenter in Ivy Call, or as we know as International Virtual Conference on Language and Literature 2020, with the theme of empowering the future of ELT. So we are here going to present our research entitled Integrating QR Code Technology in a Bilingual Museum Guide to Attract International Visitors. Next, so before we get into the main parts, we're going to introduce ourselves in brief. So, my name is Alvina Lwana Herman. I was born in January 29th and in 2000. We're both from Polynema and also from the same program study, which is D4 English for Business, Communication, and Professional.
And my name is Saidah Kaisatul Ulia. I was born in November 4th, 1997.
So, before I get started into the background, so actually, we both work on different projects. We both have had different projects, but we did the research in the same site, which is in Museum Ganesya. So for my product, I developed is a guidebook for the Museum Ganesya, and my friend's product was a QR code supported bilingual descriptions on the museum collections. So for my development, which is guidebook, it was developed in order to help international visitors of Museum Ganesya in understanding the museum itself and the collections. And then the second one is to solve verbal communication issues between the Museum Ganesya's international visitors and the museum staff, as the museum staff were not really good in English communication. So there were some verbal communication issues.
For the QR code supported bilingual description, the background, there were two backgrounds. The first was to provide bilingual descriptions on the museum collections in Indonesian and English, and the second was to assist the visitor to get the collections information more easily and in a second. The next, about development objective, it was to develop QR code supported bilingual descriptions and a game-based guidebook.
And then for our scope of the study, we're both our development were limited only in Museum Ganesya, and for the guidebook, it was paper-based and only developed in English, and then the guidebook consisted of 19 main sections of the museum, and it also designed in Japanese traditional design.
And for collections description, there were 21 collections. It was in Indonesian and English. It used two-dimension QR code. The next, about research method and procedures, we used Design and Development Research, or DDR, by Ritchie and Klein. The steps were analysis, design, development, and the next, expert validation. The last was evaluation.
So the setting of our study is in Museum Ganesya. Museum Ganesya is a culture museum which is located in Malang. So our guidebook and the descriptions can be only used in the second and the third floor, as the first floor is for the entry.
Here is the respondents of our research. Potential international and local visitors. This is for the descriptions development. And the next, potential international visitors. This is the respondents of guidebook.
And then for the data collections, we did direct observation, interview, and questionnaires. Direct observation and interview were conducted in analysis in the first procedures, and then questionnaires were conducted in both expert validation and also in evaluation. So for the specification of my guidebook, the guidebook was paper-based and in a folded form, and it consisted of contact information of the museum, and then the map, as well as the exploring route, and then 19 main sections, descriptions, the rules, FYI boxes, and the QR code, and a crossword puzzle called treasure hunt. So this is the guidebook. This is the inner part, and then this is the outer part. So as you can see, it is in black, yellow, green, and red, and also black in majority, because the color represent Japanese culture. Next. For the validation after I designed the guidebook, so this is the validated result of my guidebook, which I revised. So in validation, I choose 4 experts, which is 1 visual designer and 1 English communication expert, and also 2 managers of Museum Ganesya. So this is the result. So from the previous guidebook, I changed the placement of the pictures, the paper size, the picture size, and font size, also font and the design.
The next, about description specification. The output were bilingual descriptions of Museum Ganesya supported by QR code assistant. There were 21 bilingual descriptions of collection, 14 collections on the second floor, and 7 collections on the third floor. 21 photos of collections and 21 QR codes, which could be accessed by the visitors. Here, this is my product. On the left side, this is the QR code, which can be accessed by the visitors. So when the visitors scan the QR code, there will be a link here. Then, as we can see, this is the user's interface. So the visitors can choose both in they want to read the Indonesian description or English description. The next, the description validation. I chose 2 experts. The first is language expert, and the second, management of the Museum Ganesya. For the language expert, I asked 9 criteria, and for the management of Museum Ganesya, I asked 7 criteria. And the value of my product was good enough because the score are from 4 until 6.
And then after we conducted the validation, we had to go through the evaluation, which is can be defined as field testing. So for my guidebook, there were 10 potential international visitors who evaluated my guidebook. So from the average of the evaluation here, and then the next slide, it can be seen that the average is 5 or more out of 6, whether it is from the information, the contents, so the images.
For the descriptions evaluation, there were 88 respondents, and the feedback or responses from the respondents are quite good because the average is more than 5 up to 6.
And then for the discussion, as well as the finding from our evaluation of our research, so I realized that I found that a guidebook was also essential for foreigners in visiting a museum, as they need an overview on what sections they would pass, and also to see an overview of what a section has inside. And then the guidebook I developed does not need an internet connection, which also means a lower cost. Using the guidebook users also would not depend on their gadgets to play the game. As we can see here is the game, the crossword. So the answer had to be found in the museum. But if they use their gadget, they can find the answer easily in the internet. So it's better to have the visitors wander around the museum.
For the bilingual descriptions, supported by QR code assist both international and local tourists to understand about the collections in the Museum Ganesya. And the tourist can directly access the descriptions by scanning the QR code next to the collections. Moreover, it can help a lot for the tourists who do not like being accompanied by the tour guides in the museum.
And then in conclusion, so this is the revised result of the validation and had been field tested. So, and also in the left one, in the top side, is the contents of the guidebook. And then this guidebook is made to help Museum Ganesya's international visitors. And then the design is in Japanese colors combination. And then from the evaluation, it can be seen that the information and also the content is informative and the design also was attractive. And then from the finding, it can be concluded that there was a need for the development.
The conclusion of collections description, there are two. The first, 21 English description, Indonesian description, 21 photos collection, and 21 QR codes had been developed. And the second, the product was helpful because it contained bilingual description and practice to apply by scanning the QR code. The suggestion for the future research, I hope they can add more description of collections and create more bilingual descriptions in museums in Indonesia.
And then the suggestion for guidebook related research in the future, I hope they can combine modernized feature on a paper-based guidebook, such as a digital map, which can be scanned in QR code. And then I hope they also can develop more guidebooks for museums in Indonesia, as not many museums in Indonesia have guidebooks.
Okay, that's all from us. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and we would like thank you to Ivy Cole, who has given us chance to do our presentation of our paper. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.